Speak Life, your uplifting Christian podcast with hot topics and inspiring special guests. I'm your host, Shane Franks. Hey guys, welcome to the episode. And this episode is brought to you from Grant's Golf and More, from Casa and Honey Baked Town. Today I've got a wonderful guest that I'm looking forward to hearing his story. And his name is Josh Martin. Josh, how are you?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
I am absolutely stoked to have you.
Amen.
So, Josh, you are the pastor at Hurricane Church of God, right?
I am, yes. I've been there for going on 9 months now.
9 months?
9 months.
Well, this is a rhetorical question almost because I know the answer to this, but where is Hurricane Church of God?
It's located in Rocky Face. I forgot the address. Right
That's okay.
But we're located in Rocky Face, Georgia, and it's doing very well off.
It's off Mill Creek Road, ain't it?
Well, it's off Mill Creek Road, but it's also Hurricane Road.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've got some past with Hurricane Church of God. I grew up there, and a lot of my friends did. And
yes.
It's just lovely. Small town church, got a
yes.
good feeling. So how many people were there when you took over?
When I took over, my first Sunday was 3 weeks before Easter.
Okay.
2024. And when I got there was around 7 people. 7 people when I got there.
All right.
And
a little less than the disciples.
Yeah, a little less than the disciples, but still, I had to stay focused on what the assignment was. And so I was sent there by Bishop Tom Madden out of General Headquarters.
That's
and,
right. That's when he was still state overseer, right?
State overseer. Well, he was the administrative bishop, state overseer over North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, and Northwest Georgia. So, sent there. The Lord has had me for the last 20 years evangelizing, going of all different places, on and off, and sent there. And the Lord really blessed me. I didn't know when I walked in, it was going to be for me.
Yeah.
But I know that I had to give it a chance to find out. And
okay, let's do this, all right? Because I know that place just intimately. You walk through the door. What's the first thing that crossed your mind?
Oh my God!
Okay.
I walked in and said,
"It's the kinds of churches you were used to."
No,
right?
I'd been blessed. Pastor Jensen Franklin at Free Chapel had mentored me for 24 months.
Yeah.
In 2001 and 2.
Okay.
And so
this place didn't look like Free Chapel.
No, it was. God had used him to open up some big doors, and that's how I got my start, actually. And so when I walked in, I didn't know if it was going to be for me, but by the second service, I told Bishop Madden I'd give it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And to see if it was right for me, because the church hadn't had a pastor in forever.
And he actually laid down the timetable for you. He said,
give it 3 weeks.
Give it 3 weeks.
Give me 3 weeks there, and
give me 3 steps.
Yeah.
All right.
But he told me that, and so I did. And by the second Sunday, it started even growing. The second Sunday, went from 7 to like 16.
Wow.
And then Easter Sunday, there was like 30-something people there.
Wow.
And then from then, we just experienced exponential growth, I've got a youth pastor by the name of Gabe Shipman.
Yes.
And he's a police officer for Gordon County.
I know Gabriel didn't realize he was a police officer these days. It's been a long time since I talked to him.
He's a police officer. And he started out with us. We came around the third or fourth Sunday.
Yeah.
Him and his lovely wife, Crystal, and Gary, and the whole family, was able to come with us and be with us and join up with us. So he's been youth pastor / praise and worship leader / really
so
good.
He's been doing a little bit of all of it, huh?
Yeah.
Is he your Swiss Army knife?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He is my Swiss Army knife, and also...
We're going to open up cans and spread some butter.
Yes. And his lovely wife, Crystal, she does the music. And then his sister, Stephanie,
yes,
the youngest one, does the praise and worship when Gabe can't be there because he's there on and off. He's on one Sunday, he has work another Sunday, so
It seems to me like y'all have always got something cool going on. Cause your feed, I must be on y'all's algorithm because it pops up on my Facebook all the time, and I'm always hearting stuff. And y'all ended up putting a cool cross, and putting some Christmas lights on and stuff.
Me and my wife Miriam, she's such a go-getter. She loves God supremely and loves the church, and she has been my right hand and is my right hand there. Awesome to support me and keep me going. But we started once during the spring. We started he came to me about we got together on a deal to where we didn't have Sunday night service at the beginning, but we did eventually have Sunday night service, but we took one Sunday night service a month and had the youth takeover service.
How did that go?
And it went wonderful. I mean, there were we had one a few months ago. We stopped it for the holidays, of course, and
yes,
for that to kick back up at the first of the year or springtime. Definitely summer.
Let me ask you this. I mean, obviously it started growing right away, but was there some times where you're like, God, I don't know. Did I hear you right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Even shortly, we here recently.
Yes.
Churches go through transition, and thank God for it.
Yes.
And so it did go. It has gone through and is going through transition, but it's good transition. But it may not look like it.
When you're called to something, a lot of times there's a moment of nervousness because it's a growing process.
Oh, it is.
God's getting ready, and growing ain't always comfortable.
No.
And I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but I've got one of your stories that I just realized that just happened a while ago. It intersects with mine over at Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first times that I'd preached there, I was so nervous, and I remember telling you this. I had the microphone, and back then they didn't have cordless mics.
Nope.
Everything was corded. They kept the leash on the preacher.
Oh, yeah.
Kept him from getting to the crowd. But I was so nervous, I was wrapping that thing around my arm. And I looked down, and I had that thing wrapped all the way from my wrist all the way to my elbow. And guys, when Josh came in a while ago, I guess he's still kind of getting settled in. He was over there taking the headpiece and wrapping it around his finger.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's really crazy. It's interesting. It feels weird. Yeah.
Absolutely. But so, what transformations have you seen? What's God doing?
Exactly, and that's what I was saying about the youth takeover.
Yes.
The one we had a few months ago, not that one, but the one before it, we had 137 kids and people there at the church.
That's wild.
If you don't know my church, it's small as far as in number, as far as the seats go. I think
137. You're getting close to the fire marshal showing up and be like, "Listen, I know y'all are church, but we're gonna have to shut this down."
Yeah, it was quite the experience, but
it's gonna be bad when y'all have to tear out that fellowship hall in the back.
Oh yeah, the Lord is blessing. But we took from that time on, then it started growing even more. Headquarters heard about it and sent me, kept
good job. Keep up the good work. What did God, when God calls us, He instructs you. He instructs us, Josh. What did God tell you to do in order to see this through and in order for God to bless it?
Well, number one, it's nothing I do. It's just the obedience. I believe.
Yes.
I believe that more than anything. That's like I tell my church during the offering time is we have an opportunity to worship God in our giving. I'll say it's not the amount, it's the obedience.
That's right.
Just the obedience. And the Lord had gave me very clear instructions to go in there and not change up a bunch of things. But when the Lord decided to drop, it's time, I did so. And again, that was transition.
Yeah.
But my job was I felt in my assignment was to go in there and just love people. Just don't be don't be the guy. Don't be a pushover, but love them.
Right.
Because it's not like it was when I was evangelist.
Yeah.
I'd go in there and then run, and leave and leave it for the pastor. But now it's just to love people where they're at and set the example by the living example by me and putting, doing the things, just going to see them when they're sick, call them, things like that. Because we forgot, unfortunately, sometimes people don't feel loved other than only at church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of love going around, and also to impact the community with the footprint of the gospel.
That's good.
That's
good.
That was my main.
You're in a small town community over there, and let me tell you something. The word travels fast,
Mm-hmm.
and if you've got one church right in the middle of this wonderful community, small little country community, if they can't feel love there, where are they going to feel love at?
I'm telling you. And that's what we're doing and have done.
I'm gonna get me a T-shirt sometime that shows Jesus and it's gonna say "Gotta represent."
Yeah,
we gotta represent Jesus.
And that's the thing, because I think we get so busy in ministry that we forget what it's all about.
Which parable do we have that reminds us of that, man?
Exactly.
It's the Good Samaritan.
Yes,
you've got the priest who walked by. No, I ain't got time for this. And then the other one, the Levite, I ain't got time. But both of those people that are supposed to be working in the church.
Yeah.
But the only one that picked him up was the one that's supposed to be unclean, considered unclean by the Jewish
and
man.
that's the thing. We get a lot of people get so busy that we forget what it's all about and where we come from in the first place.
Yes.
How far God's brought us to and from where we were, and that's what my main focus was, and not to be churchy and not to see my.
Can I be real with you? Our world is churched out. They're done with it.
Yeah.
They're done with it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the system that we've tried to put in place, it's not God's system, it's our system.
Exactly.
And we gotta start thinking outside the box.
Oh,
we gotta start being real.
Gotta be real.
Transparent.
Yes,
you know
exactly
what I'm saying?
Right. We're doing a series right now by Pastor Franklin called Overcoming When You Feel Overwhelmed. We live in a society, and we're in a generation that feels overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed, and that's why there's such drug abuse and alcohol abuse, and I found out a long time ago that all eyes is like Tupac's chorus of the song said, "All eyes on me."
Right.
And the eyes are on me to see, is this guy any different, right? Than what we've had. And thank God for what's going on in the church. I do not discredit that at all.
No.
But I want to be the example to the believer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really
Absolutely.
do. And so there's a lot of people's had enough of church. They just don't go no more.
Absolutely.
Because people they've seen a lot of flakiness.
They have.
A lot of hypocrisy and a lot of things like that. But my goal is to, and my wife's goal is to be the example, saying, hey, I don't know it all, but I do know I'm called there.
Right.
I do know that I know I can tell you what Jesus has done for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can tell you in detail if you want to. You know?
There could have been a decision made on your part, Josh, when you walked in and you're used to being these other good sized churches and stuff. You could have walked in and you could have been disobedient. You could have been prideful, and no, not for me. Of all these churches you could offer, you're giving me this, but no, it's all about assignments.
Yeah, it's all about assignment.
And what does the scripture say about small beginnings?
Yeah, don't despise them.
Do not despise small beginnings, because God's building something. He's growing something.
Exactly. And so when the bishop offered me the church, I did not ask how much it paid.
No.
I didn't ask. All I said was yes. See, I think God is looking for our yes again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Not the stipulations on, and not only it meets our criteria, but it's the yes.
That's where faith kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not worried about how. It's
we know it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, because if God calls us to do something, then it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
God don't waste time.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't waste opportunity.
And he specializes in the impossible.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
You mentioned Jensen Franklin. Didn't your father, wasn't he kind of close to Jensen Franklin? Was he kind of also mentored by?
Well, back when Pastor Franklin came to the church, Free Chapel, I think I was around 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Young. And my dad, Brother Welburn, had died of leukemia, but had already scheduled Pastor Franklin to come in. And I remember as a kid, so my dad was kind of, in a sense, holding things together after the original Free Chapel in Gainesville.
Right.
And when they had like 100 and something people.
Yeah.
And he wanted the revival. Brother Wellman's request was he wanted the revival to continue with Pastor Franklin. So he came in, he was an evangelist, blah, 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 blah. And so from that day of the first time he came in that old diesel, Mercedes, yellow diesel.
Old diesel Mercedes.
And had Miss Cerise with him. She was pregnant with Courtney.
Yeah.
They came in, and the rest is all history. But yes, I've had the honor, and Dad has had the honor of traveling many times to Africa and Russia and Poland and Ukraine, and with Pastor Franklin. And we go as much when I'm in town. If I'm in town, if I can, I'll go.
That's awesome.
And of course, Dad, he's a fair-time evangelist too. But yes, the answer, absolutely, we've had opportunity.
He preached at our camp meeting, the Church of God camp meeting down in Lake Lanier. I believe it was this year, and he spoke and gave a message which was such an in-time, on-time message.
Right.
And in these last years in America, things have looked bleak. They have looked
terrible.
I mean, it's looked like, man, I guess our only thing we've got to look forward to is come quickly, Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
But he, in the midst of all of that, and this is before anything else that took place that looked like it could be shifting a different direction, he preached a message, and it was the message that was given to the Israelites in the middle of captivity, in the middle of bondage, while the yokes are still on their necks, while they're still underneath their necks are underneath the feet of their aggressors. God gave a word, and it said, "Tell your children to marry off. Marry off your children. Go build houses. Go plant your crops, because good times are coming."
Yes.
Good times are coming. It doesn't matter how terrible a situation looks.
No.
God is God, and that's where He thrives.
That's right.
And those times when faith has to kick in.
That's exactly right. It's nothing unless faith is in the equation.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. So, well, tell me a little bit about. Let's hear your story from the beginning, because you've got a very good testimony, and I want to kind of get into that a little bit.
Okay. Well, I hadn't always. Been a pastor.
You haven't always been a pastor?
Not always been a pastor. I back in 2000. Well, back when I was about 8 to 10 years old, I knew that the Lord had called me to preach.
Yeah.
And a lot of many times, kids will be at youth camps and they'll feel that, and then, but this thing wasn't going away. And I wasn't doing it, and I didn't feel called because of my dad was a evangelist and pastor, traveling minister. Actually, it was quite the opposite. I didn't want to have to go through what he had been through.
You've seen too much.
You had seen too much, been there too much, seen too many tears out of him, and I didn't want to go through that. But as time went on, it never went away. Got out of high school and went right into full-time ministry. In 1999, I went in full-time ministry. Yeah. I got married to a young lady from Gainesville, Georgia, and we had been married since 99. In 2002, we had our first child, our baby girl. Okay. Her name's JC. Okay. She's in school now at the University of Georgia to be a veterinarian, and studying veterinary medicine and agriculture and things like that. So, but she's 21. Yeah. So, and I'm 45. But anyway, we went through there, and 2003 rolls around, and I'm traveling. I'm a father. They're going with me, all the good stuff, and out of that, I came home a little bit early one time, and caught and saw and experienced my wife having an affair. Yes. And so at that very moment, the God that I had preached about, the Jesus that I had preached about.
It took him holding you back.
I'm seeing this,
yeah,
and I'm like, what? It was just like in slow motion.
Yes,
and it was so surreal. But I like, what are you doing? I've given my best, and you're letting this happen.
Yeah.
So immediately I had 13 months worth of revivals booked.
Yes.
And I canceled every one of them.
Wow.
I quit.
Wow.
I gave up.
Yeah.
I also, at that time, because I'm just a real preacher, I'm a real pastor, and I hope this helps somebody.
Of course it will.
But I was experienced a lot of pain in my back.
Yeah.
Early on in ministry, and I was in mobile ministry, so I was an evangelist, and I started experiencing a lot of pain in my back at night when I tried to go to sleep from preaching, and had went to the doctor before all of this happened.
Yeah.
And found out that my L4 and 5 discs in my back were totally deteriorated.
Oh.
I was young, man. I was like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
My grandmother had the same surgery, and my dad had the same surgery, so it was hereditary, this disease.
Right.
So, they told me, look, Mr. Mark, we can put you on, we can keep you comfortable.
Yes. Yes.
Or we can do surgery, and I'm like, I'm so young, blah, 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 blah.
Right, of course.
So they put me on high pain medication, high potency pain medication.
Right.
Well, I barely used.
Which medication was it?
It was Oxycontin.
Okay.
And things like that. It was for cancer patients. You know what I'm saying. And so it started out kind of moderate.
Right.
With the treatment, and then it got more aggressive. Pains was more aggressive, and then when I went through this with her, I started self-medicating.
Right.
And from that time on, I had medicated, and I'm here and we got of course a divorce, and here I am, and I'm called to preach, and I was actively doing that, but now I've just given up. See, the God that I had preached about and the Jesus that I had preached about, I didn't know him in that capacity. To know him in a way that, you feel me, is that I didn't know him in that way to be the God in the midnight hour.
Yeah.
When everybody else, I didn't have to call. I couldn't call anybody else.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to call nobody. I went into a deep state of depression. And became, as time rolled on, of course we got a divorce, and I was an absentee father because of all this. Yeah. I didn't, want to drive around high.
Of course.
With my child.
Right.
But that was, I took the bait of Satan, really.
Yes.
Got offended.
Somebody's been listening and reading John Bevere.
Yeah. Took the bait of Satan, got offended. Got mad at God and started even more self-medicating. Well, as time goes on, of course, the doctor didn't tell you it would drive you the way it did, and it did, and it was physically addicting.
Yes.
So therefore, you were sick if you didn't take it.
Yes.
And then when they cut you off, right?
Of course.
They expect you to be okay.
You're withdrawing from it.
No, and I could, at the time, I just. That wasn't even the cards, so I went to the streets, and here I am, a man of God.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
During all this, I still called during all this.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
our calling is without repentance.
It's exactly right. So here I am, and anyways, in 2005.
Yes.
I found myself at the lowest point of my life, and I was on the streets of Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yes.
Wilmington, North Carolina, and I got introduced to heroin. Okay. And here I am, all this is going on, and I couldn't take a look at it because it was so messed up.
You were right in the middle of it, and you could not get an outside perspective.
No, because how am I going to tell my dad?
Right. You've got.
How am I going to tell people
You've got a reputation to live up to.
Yes, and it wasn't living up. It was plummeting. I promise.
Well, you got that spirit of addiction that came in, but that spirit of addiction also comes with the spirit of condemnation. So that sucker's over there sitting on your shoulders, knowing dang well that it's the reason why you're there, but then saying, "Look at you.
Oh yeah,
you're not fit for nothing. Everyone's going to be disappointed."
So when that would come, what you're talking about, I just cut out a line of heroin and do it. You know,
that'll make it feel better.
And make it feel up to a certain point.
Yes.
And then you get immune to that, and it just rolled
vicious
and rolled.
cycle.
Yes. And so I was out of that for years. I would do better, whatever, but I wasn't in ministry. I'm no hypocrite, brother. I wasn't going to do that.
I know.
So in 2013, I was still in addiction. I'm talking about from 2005 to 13.
Wow. This went for a while.
Went for a long time. And
this became a new lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. And sin will take you farther than you want to go and keep you longer than you want to stay.
That's
I promise you.
That's right.
And so 2013, my sister, Paige, had suffered an overdose.
Ooh.
So addiction runs deep in my family.
Okay.
And so one of the things that...
Well, first of all, your parents, your dad was in ministry, so you're going to be targeted.
Oh, yeah.
The devil wants to shoot that down.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to distract.
And so my sisters... I have two older sisters.
Okay.
I have two younger brothers, one younger sister in California. Yeah. So, but the oldest children really were attacked with addiction.
Yeah.
And so she was in the hospital ICU. Here I am, 2013. My buddy goes and gets, whatever.
Right.
We're at my mom's house. It's about 2:30ish in the morning.
Yeah.
And my birthday had just rolled by, and I mean, it was just terrible.
Yes.
And the guy had told him to tell me that because he knew that I was going to go all out. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And to watch it because it was highly potency. It was cut with fentanyl.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, and I did it. Of course, intravenously by that time. And my buddy did it before me, and he's about 6'4", 300 pounds. And
so his body can handle it just a tad more than yours.
You would think, but before he went out, he told me, so there was still some left, quite a bit in the spoon there, and I did it all.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and that's the last thing I remember is that.
Where were you at when this took place?
I was in Gainesville. I was at my mom's house.
Your mom's house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And back in the back part of her house.
Okay.
And the guest bathroom, and immediately, Shane, I found myself falling through the floor joist, the joist of the home, through the plywood, into the foundation.
Yes.
I was the vacuum was sucking in such a way. I was digging my finger in the ground, and I could feel the moist, cold. You
were trying to slow your descent.
Yes, I was doing everything I do, and I was struggling so bad. I kept falling down. I was in a vacuum by this time, and there's the black darkness is going fast beside me on each side in the vacuum.
Yeah,
I'm doing all I can, screaming, trying to feel like I want to wake up from this dream. I wasn't no dream. I was on my way to hell, brother.
Okay,
literally.
Okay,
and going down depths, and there was a screech like I've never experienced.
What do you mean a screech?
Like a screech. Like,
was it collective? Was it a bunch of different ones?
No, it was just one right here on each side of my, and it was so real.
Where do you feel that screech came from?
It came from hell, brother. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I was on my way very quickly. Out of nowhere, I go right back up. Things change. Now I'm going from the descent to the ascent.
Yes.
Back up through the same places I came back down before.
Hold on one second now. How far down there did you go? Or just to the point of darkness?
Oh, yeah, total darkness on each side.
Okay.
When it went from darkness, that little light, and it's complete darkness, but I could feel myself.
Yes.
And that's kind of like being plummeted, not falling.
Yes. Free fall.
Yeah. And went right back up. I can't tell you how long I was. I stayed in there, but
I'm gonna go on a limb and just say that you probably don't go to Six Flags and ride the Acrophobia anymore.
No.
Okay.
But I shot back up through, and I wake up, and there's a white sheet over my face. They had gave up. The paramedics.
There was a white sheet on your face.
There was a white sheet on my face. My buddy pulled the sheet back, realized I was alive.
Yes.
Okay, they had done the Narcan, the ambulance, the EMTs. I didn't come back.
Nothing, even the Narcan.
I had been done. I had been without oxygen for 18 minutes.
18 minutes. Mm-hmm. You should have been brain dead.
Brain dead. My sister went without oxygen for a few minutes, and she's in a wheelchair because because of her overdose. Yes. Yes. And so I'm here 18 minutes. They done pulled the shit over there. Done pronounced me dead. My buddy screaming. My mama screaming. And I come through.
Yeah.
And I see his face, and I see the white sheet, see his face. I see these people. And then paramedics, immediately started working on me.
Yes. Let me ask you something. Let's pick back up at the, you've been worked up by the paramedics. On the way back up, did you feel like some force pulling you up? Was there anything special about that?
No, I was the same.
Just the opposite of falling?
The opposite of falling, but being pushed.
Okay.
Back up.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm recognizing the same way I went down, the same places I went by. Yeah. I'm still going up through again. I'm recognizing the same things. Okay. And there was no angelic. Whoa. No,
right.
It was happening so quickly. Anyway. So they're like, oh, freaking out. What? And I'm like, what? And I'm pouring sweat.
What was the expression on the faces of the MT workers?
They were freaked out because.
I bet they said a cuss word, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
I bet they did.
They were like, oh, my Lord, he's alive. And so my buddy was like, man, he's alive. Yeah. And I just popped my eyes open from my buddy said I was white as flour, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I came back, but I was pouring sweat, and they got me, all up, running the vital. My blood pressure was like 130 over 85. I mean, it was good,
Yeah.
And here I am. I come back up. They sit me on the edge of the bed, and my phone rings.
Yes.
And it's my dad.
Okay. And where is your dad at this point?
Oh, he was in Clarksville, Georgia, at the farm.
A few hours away?
Yeah, no. It was maybe 40 minutes from where I work.
Okay.
40 minutes north. Anyway, he calls and says, son, and I see the phone. I'm not wanting to answer it.
Right.
I'm like, no.
Right.
It's 3 o'clock. Get on the money. And I was like,
you were almost in hell that day already. I think you got bigger problems here, okay? Just talk to your dad.
Yeah, and so I said, hello, Daddy. And he said, son? He said, are you okay? I said, no, I'm not.
Oh, wow. So he had no idea.
No, I said, why are you calling me so late? He said, well, about 30 minutes ago.
Yes.
25, 30 minutes ago. He said, the Lord woke me out of a deep sleep, and I started agonizing in prayer for your soul, to God, for you not to die. And I knew
Say that again. Our listeners need to hear this.
He said, I was agonizing with God, praying for you that you wouldn't die, that Satan was trying to kill you. You were. I knew that your life was in danger, and that he was going all out. And
the power of prayer from a parent.
Oh my God!
The power of prayer from a parent.
Yes. And I said, that's why I told him what happened, and the rest, and of course he shouted and said, and immediately came got me.
Yeah. You going home?
You going home?
You going somewhere?
So the prodigal returned. Yeah. After all that time, and from that day, I never touched it again.
You never touched it again.
Mm-mm. Never touched it again. And that was, it didn't happen overnight.
No, it's a process.
It didn't happen. I went to several treatment centers during this time as well.
Okay.
And nothing against AA, 12-step.
Right.
It all has its purposes and all has its places. But I came back, and and went and got some help.
Did God have anything to say to you after this, whether it be through a person?
I'll tell you exactly what it said.
Okay.
Your grace factor has run out.
Where'd you get that from?
From God.
Like directly from Him?
Yeah, directly from Him. Right after I was sitting on that bed.
Did you hear it audibly?
No.
You heard it in your heart.
In my spirit.
You heard it in your spirit.
That said, your grace factor has run out. If you ever go back, you're done.
Whoa, son.
Yeah, and I never did.
Oh, you're a smart man.
So it really, your grace factor has run out.
Wow.
So you got to understand, man, I'd been playing the hypocrite and all that mess for a long time by then.
Yeah.
Hurt a lot of people, embarrassed my family, and even gave Jesus a black eye.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Haven't we all?
Yes, we have. And so from that time on, but 2016 was when things began to open back up in ministry. God knew I was not going back, and I surrounded myself. I made sure I surrounded myself with people that loved me and would love me enough to hurt my feelings to tell me the truth.
So you changed your environment by changing the group of people you
sure did. I told my buddy that was with me that night, I love you, but if you're not going to fly right, I can't be around you.
You cannot be drugged down.
I love you.
I want to speak this to everyone that is listening. First of all, like I said, the prayers of a parent. Yes. The Bible says the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. Mm-hmm. That's a woman as well. But also, if you are trying to get out of a bad situation, you cannot keep hanging around the same people and expect different results.
No.
You cannot.
You cannot.
You got to change your environment.
From that time on, Shane, I decided I'm never going back.
Yeah.
I'm never going back. And it, like I said, it wasn't an overnight Jericho March experience, but it happened.
Eventually, the walls came down.
Eventually, the walls came down, and then I am able, since I've been at the church, and before, I can look at you and tell you what you're dealing with. Yeah. As far as substances and things of that nature.
Wow. So God's giving you that discernment because you've been there.
Because I've been there. Wow. And it all was part of it. I mean,
you know what? Listen, it's crazy because I know where you're at. Mm-hmm. I know where the church is. I live very close to that same community. Okay,
and it's eat up with addiction in that community
all over. And God stuck you there,
right in the middle.
God stuck you there.
Yes. He sure did. And now I'm able to, we have a outstanding, my wife Miriam has took over the food ministry, and man, she's done such an amazing job.
That's awesome.
We don't just feed them physically. Mm-hmm. To get that box of food, they must come in and get the gospel first.
That's the way it has to be.
It has to be.
Absolutely.
Well, they will. Unfortunately, that's the system.
Human nature. Mm-hmm. They'll take it and run off.
Exactly. So that's, and I will go into those places. I say, look, love, I'm not scared. I've been there. Yeah. I'll go into those places. You know, and so that's my church is now nearly full of either ex-addicts or ex-people that have been on the bottom. Yeah. That are now where they're at. Right. And God showed them a great measure.
God's allowed them to ascend.
Yes. And so that's the story. Now, in 2022, my son accidentally burned our home down.
What?
Yes.
I did not. Okay, I didn't know anything about this. Yes. He accidentally burned.
Miriam and I, since COVID, we went through a bad time financially. And we were finally, in 2022, we found a place over in Rossville. Yeah. It was a place built in 1947. It was a little cottage. Same owners that built it, they died there. It was an estate sale. Everything went with the house. It was full of antique heirlooms. And, and got it at a wonderful price, and we closed on it on a Friday.
And your son burned it all down.
And Sunday afternoon, he burned it down.
No!
That's exactly right.
How many days were you in there?
2.
2 days?
And I watched it burn to the ground in 16 minutes.
6? Okay, let's discuss this. How? Poor kid. I hope he never listens to this podcast. Yeah. How did he burn this place down?
Well, you know how
and parents, if your kids are starting to take notes, you need to be alarmed. All right, go ahead.
you know how a place that has been closed up.
Yes.
Smells at times musty.
Yes, of course.
Whatever.
Right.
So
a lot of humidity.
Yeah, and so there was we were moving in. My dad and I moved a wood stove in. I thought that would be the thing that burned it down.
Of course.
But we moved it in Saturday. We were moving in all day Saturdays. Oh yeah. Sunday we were moving.
Yes.
And my boy and I went over there to the place and was moving.
Yeah.
Truckload of stuff, and Dad had went home.
Right.
And those little old scented candles.
Of course.
But it had a little box candle. You could.
Right.
That's how you put the flame out. You just put the top back on it.
Right.
Well, I lit it and put it in the middle of the dining room table.
Yes.
So my wife gets there. My
Yeah.
mother-in-law gets there, and I'm showing them the place.
Right.
Showing her the place. And I said, go check on him. I told my wife, go check on him for a minute. She goes and checks on him. He's good. He's in the front living room. He's riding one of them rocker chairs,
Right.
like a bull.
Right.
And he went into his room, and so I was showing. So the house went around like in a circle.
Yeah.
I was showing her our room and what we moved in already. And I went, and they were behind me, and I opened his door, and immediately it burnt the doorknob burnt my hand.
Whoa.
I kicked that joker open, and there was
It was engulfed.
Came
your
the
way.
bed was already on fire. The ceiling was on fire.
Son.
Yeah, the lady. The old lady had passed away there. She had made crochet blankets, and there were probably, without any exaggeration, 30 blankets under his bed that ignited. What he did was,
here we go.
he takes a teddy bear.
Yes.
Lays it on top of that candle.
Are you kidding? How old is this kid?
At that time he was, 7 now. He's 5.
Okay.
Lights it, gets scared, grabs it by the leg.
Throws it he threw it under the bed.
the bed and shut the door. I know nothing
out
about
of
it.
here. No.
He's sitting in the front living room like,
oh my goodness.
And it's totally gone.
Y'all were going to hold this over his head for the rest of his life. How old is he now?
7. He's
7.
Yeah, he's my pride and joy though. He is. But so it's on fire. We'd waited. We got married in 2020, in February, and we'd waited on a home.
Yeah. Apparently that was the wrong one.
Yeah, and so here we are.
I bet y'all never listen to Bruce Springsteen ever again. I'm on fire.
It's burning, so I'm trying to put it out, and I tell her to go get me some water, and she comes back.
That's crazy.
With a cookie sheet full.
A cookie sheet. You know what I did from that point? I just hit myself in the head with it and called it a day.
I tried. My face got burnt my beard off, burnt my eyelashes off, burnt my eyebrows off. I had smoke inhalation trying to put it out. And finally, when I knew this is not going, I knew where he was.
Yes.
I said, get out of the house.
Snatch and grab, gone.
Gone.
Yes,
I couldn't get nothing, brother. It was
I get
quick.
it.
Gone.
Wow.
And in 48 hours,
I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I know we're making a joke out of this, but I'm sorry that y'all lost your house.
Yeah, it was bad. And then for the caveat to this was that
what was it God needed to burn down the house that way that you would move to Lafayette, Georgia, so you could pastor Hurricane Church of God?
I guess it was,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it took the insurance company over a year
Yes.
to get the numbers working because they offered me just nothing.
Of course.
And I had it. I mean, this is all I had.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to offer you the bare minimum.
And when we closed on it, my dad was the only owner finance. He said to me, he said, son, get the insurance company on the phone. He got it before we walked into Logan's and had dinner.
Yeah.
So the Lord already knew, really. But we waited over a year, and we had to move in with her mom. And Lord, I love her mama to death. Miss Elise is the sweetest little thing in the world.
If I'm going to move in with somebody, it's going to be Miss Elise because let me tell you something. When we went to their church, I was with a band, and it was called the Rock Band. Don't ask any questions. I didn't come up with it, but it was a Christian band, and we were helping their church out. And after church, we would go there to their house, and like Miss Elise, she would make dinner for us, and we'd hang out with her. Very hospitable, sweet woman.
We stayed with her, and bless her heart, and for over a year, and then finally, It happened. It finally happened. And I pulled up. We didn't want to live in Lafayette. We wanted to live in Chickamauga.
Yeah. Well, Chickamauga's nice. And listen, I live in Lafayette. Lafayette's just Lafayette.
Yeah.
They're Walmart.
Lafayette. And so we went over there to look at another home. I said, babe, we might have to, because it was $5,000 to $8,000 more to live in Chickamauga than it was.
Of course.
So either way, so what I'm saying that is, we wasn't even planning on doing it. And then I hooked up with a wonderful man in illustrated Teams and Teams.
Okay.
Bobby and Billy. Yes. And they sold me this was a fixer-upper they had, and it was the exact amount of money.
Bobby and Billy.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Bobby and Billy.
It was the exact amount of money they wanted.
Yes.
For the exact it was that
you got back from insurance?
Yes.
To the penny?
To the penny.
Shut up.
To the penny, brother.
The penny?
That's with insurance
and
everything.
Out of
I swear,
here.
dude, I promise you,
so
man.
God restored.
God restored to the penny. And now my wife and I live, we don't have a house payment. It's done.
And you would have with the other, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So
I think there's a lesson here, Josh.
Yeah.
I think there's a lesson here, because like we could see something like that and like, God, why would you allow this, but like God does have an overall plan and he's placing us. And also he wants to know, do we place our trust in the blessing? And true. Is it possible that we're getting our eyes off of the blesser? We got to seek his face and not just his hand. That's right, man. Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, so I mean to the PT. So now my wife, praise God, the church has grown in such a way that, I'm able to be full-time.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
It's amazing that you ended up with Miriam because
she speaks well of you, by the way.
Does she?
Your mama. She loves your mama.
I'll pay her. I'll pay her for what she says about me. But you may not be used to these small churches, but Miriam is.
I know she is.
She is. So like God has used that because she knows how to probably fine tune that like a fine tooth comb.
She is gifted with the gift of helps and administration.
That's awesome.
She really
My
is.
wife keeps me straight too.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That's not just a saying. She's so organized.
Really. She does, she makes sure everything's good. But she's worked like in this public sector, private sector, whatever, for a very long time. And so the Lord had so blessed us now that because I kept my nose on the grindstone, kept grinding, kept getting it, that she works only 2.5 days a week now.
Yeah.
And the Lord has made a provision like none other. And so
He's a good God.
Yeah, she is. So she's like, she don't know what.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Josh, the best is yet to come.
Yes, I believe it.
The best is yet to come.
Yes.
You're building the kingdom of God.
Exactly.
And
it's all about kingdom.
God's going to use y'all to do great and wonderful things in that community.
I believe that.
I feel it.
Amen. And the church is growing. We had our Thanksgiving service, man, place was packed out.
Yeah.
I've got people coming from Jasper, all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's
so
cool.
The Lord's really
I must have been some dang good turkey. Coming all over from Jasper.
But yeah, the Lord has restored all and more, and exceedingly abundantly is where we're at right now. Yeah. And there'll be times, a lot of people say it's feasting family. Well, I choose to think it's all about kingdom. And
that's right.
Sometime that, but I'm first dad.
Yeah.
You see me? Mm-hmm. I'm first husband.
Yes.
I'm husband. That's my first ministry in my family.
Yeah.
Pastor always told me, he said, don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm. Because you can put ministry before family and it'll be all out of whack.
Absolutely.
All out of whack.
Without family, we do not have the church.
Exactly.
The family is the core. That's why the devil always attacks the family.
Exactly. And so...
do not let your family suffer due to church.
No. I mean, I'll tell them, look, Pastor, you can blah, 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 blah. Well, hold on a minute. Yeah. Call the boss.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm the same way. Yeah. You know, like my wife, y'all don't know this. I'll give a visual. My wife's sitting over there on the couch, basically laid on the couch listening to this podcast. But and she's only about 4'9". But you know, we pay attention to what we have to say, and you know, for big decisions stuff. You know, like I include her because she's. She is me and I am her.
Everything that I preach about or whatever. What's you preaching on, baby? I can't tell you all. You might fall out. You know.
You may not come. Or tell me I can't.
Yeah, I always tell them preaching on the spirit of Miriam.
Oh gosh.
But I thank you for having me, brother.
Hey, it was absolutely my pleasure. So I've got a funny little story for you.
Go ahead.
Gabe Shipman.
Yes.
His dad, Gary Shipman.
Gary, ZZ Top.
That's funny you said that because like I commented on his picture today because his wife switched her profile over to another one when he didn't have a beard. I said, did he get rid of the infamous ZZ Top beard? She said, no, it's an old picture. But when he was a kid in that church, he was in Sunday school.
And Hurricane.
Okay, yeah. And the Sunday school teacher might have been Miss Evelyn. One of them. But anywho, they asked him if he wanted to sing a song for Sunday school.
Oh, okay.
He was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan, and he just started singing "Just a Good Old Boy." So they probably should have been a little bit more specific.
Yeah, you know, we've got some big plans for the church as far as building wise. I've spoke with headquarters, and
brother, I'm interested to see how this plays out because
yes, me too.
It's a very interesting setup where your parking lot and stuff, you know. Oh yeah, but God can work something out.
Look, I can't stand in the parking lot. Okay,
it's for years. It's kind of cut out weird,
right? And that's what they told me at headquarters too. But so that's why I'm going to start a 9 o'clock service.
Oh, and then
when 9 gets full and 11 gets full, then the new building's coming.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
New area.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, new area?
Yeah.
Think about moving away from that.
Yeah, it's
same road.
Same church, the same area, but different building. There's a building close by that was a church.
Is it on Hurricane Road?
It's off Hurricane Road.
Well, you can't call it Hurricane Church of God then. Why is it Hurricane Church? We're in the middle of Georgia. Where did this hurricane come from?
It came from the road, I guess.
It came from the road, I guess.
Absolutely. But hey, it's a hurricane going on in there.
Where did they name I bet it is. I know that it is. But where did the name of the road come from?
I don't know, man. It was way before my time. Okay. Probably above my pay grade.
You know what? I mean, it don't matter. It just is what it is.
But, man, I've heard a lot about you, Shane, and
I'm sorry.
I thank God for what you're doing here, man. Really. This is a miracle.
Well, God's doing some big things in all of us, brother. He's getting ready to start an awesome revival, and you and I and everybody else will get front row seats.
I'm 45 years old, and I consider it to be a younger man.
You are a younger man.
And I'm going to tell you, though, but I believe the best is yet to come.
It is, my brother.
And not just for the denominational.
It's not about denomination. It's the church.
It's the church.
It's not a Church of God thing. It's not a Pentecostal thing. It's not a Baptist thing. It's not a Methodist. Nope. It's a Jesus
thing. Amen. Amen.
Well, brother, I'm going to tell all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for hearing Josh's testimony. Make sure you share this. Let's spread this like a wildfire because our testimonies are so powerful, and it's all about changing a life.
Right.
And anyone who's dealt with the things similar to what Josh has, this testimony is a testimony that God can take someone who's dealing with that, and he can turn things around 180 degrees. Josh, thank you so much for being here.
God bless you, brother.
I love you, my brother.
I love you.
Y'all stay tuned for these messages. Speak Life has been brought to you by Whitfield Murray Casa. Would you like to encourage a child in foster care? You can make a real difference in a child's life and help them thrive by becoming a Casa volunteer. Court-appointed special advocates are child-focused volunteers, especially trained to support and protect the best interests of kids in foster care. You can become part of the local team of good neighbors by joining the next volunteer training. Call Murray Whitfield Casa or visit Murray Whitfield Casa on Facebook. If you're looking for a unique, child-focused volunteer opportunity, this is it. And by Grant's Golf and More. For Dalton's best selection of golf supplies, come to Grant's Golf and More. All of your top brands for clubs and equipment from pre-owned to brand new, including Strix on balls. You can be fitted on site using their state-of-the-art golf simulator. Grant's Golf and More is also your go-to for trusted club repair, conveniently located on Cleveland Highway in Dalton Village Shopping Center, and also by Honey Baked Ham, the perfect place for your holiday party trays, office parties, gift cards, family holiday dinners. Honey Baked Ham is a great place for a quick lunch. Also come in and grab Honey Baked Ham's Take and Bake Sliders. Your family will be thankful you did. Honey Baked Ham can be located on West Walnut Avenue, Dalton, Georgia, and Brahmans Plaza, or call 706-277-4966 to place your order.